Dave Roscoe here. It is Monday, September 8th, 2025, and I'm late today. As some of you may know, I put out a post earlier this morning saying I would be late, and that's likely to continue at least for like the next week. We'll have to see how it goes. The morning isn't working out for me right now because of pressures at work, so we'll see how that shakes out. As a lot of you know, I did have a loss to the scammers recently. I had been on a good run with 7 wins and 2 losses, was hoping for an 8th, and that didn't happen. As is always the case, I've done a post-mortem of how I lost, and I've taken some lessons learned, and I have a path forward. Unfortunately, it doesn't help the victim that lost all of their pie, but it will help others. I've got an update on Token 2049 that I want to share, and most of you probably already know what that's about. And there were several articles that came out just in the last 24 hours questioning the future of the Pi network. And we're going to take a look at those as well. But first, the metrics. The anti-scammer bot is at 7 wins, 3 losses, as I mentioned. I did lose very recently, and it was heartbreaking. I know that losing is a very real possibility, but I do go into each attempt expecting to win because I've spent a lot of time and money working on this bot, and like I said, it did hurt. Migrations have been really spotty. There were no migrations happening today, but there were a bunch of migrations happening yesterday. And the funny part is that it wasn't a high number of accounts. I mean, we've certainly seen higher. There were 48,424 user accounts. But the unique part about this is that totaled 49.8 million pi. Now that is high. So that means they were migrating some bigger accounts, which is interesting because they have been focusing on migrating smaller accounts, which is why so many of us with larger balances are wondering why we're kept waiting. Well, that is why. But yesterday seemed to buck that trend, and I don't know what that was all about. Maybe they were testing something, but like I said, there's no migrations happening today. There is 15.5 million pi in the Pi migration wallet, and migrations are not happening right now. The migrated unlocked rewards are at 3 billion, with 22.8 million unlocked pi over the last weekend, and now free to be traded on the open markets. Looking at the price action, the Pi coin is currently trading at 34 cents, which is down 0.4% from this time yesterday. The daily trading volume is at $2.75 billion, which is down 0.4%. The daily trading volume is at $25.41 million, which is up 34% from this time yesterday. So if it's up 34% and it's only at 25 million, then we definitely have a issue right now with interest in the Pi coin. Volume is almost non-existent. And that has a lot to do with these articles that have been coming out, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But I mean, I would not trade Pi right now at all. We have no idea what's going to happen, where it's going to go. And with low volume like this, things can swing in an instant. So be careful out there. Dr. Chengyao Fan has been confirmed as a speaker at the Token 2049 conference. Now we know that they are a sponsor, and it was speculated that that Dr. Kokalis would speak, but apparently Dr. Chengyao Fan will be speaking instead. And it says here, Dr. Chengyao Fan, one of 2 founders at Pi Network, will be a speaker at the Token 2049 event in Singapore, which takes place October 1st and 2nd, 2025. During this engagement, she will focus on crypto and blockchain as mechanisms for real societal utility and impact, analyzing current Web3 challenges and potential solutions for pushing the crypto space for more innovations in real-world utility. One of the largest crypto events in the world, Token 2049, is expected to bring together more than 25,000 attendees, 300 speakers, and 500 exhibitors from across the world, including founders, executives, investors, developers, and policymakers. It is widely regarded as a central gathering point for the global Web3 ecosystem and includes educational events, meetups, hackathons, and business development opportunities. With Dr. Fan speaking at the event and Pi Network serving as a gold sponsor of the Token 24 event, Pi's activities ensure the network has a strong presence on one of the industry's largest stages. These actions serve to increase Pi's visibility across the conference and signal the project's intent to engage both directly with the global Web3 community as well as with the Pi community through this additional avenue. Dr. Fan's inclusion as a speaker at the event also provides a unique opportunity to share Pi's perspective on real-world utility, community building, and the broader future of blockchain adoption. And if you look at the speakers page, there's Dr. Fan right there at the very bottom. That was probably just due to when they signed up. I don't know what dictated where they were, but she's right there at the bottom. And we'll look forward to see that. Hopefully something positive comes out of this. I have a hard time believing it could be worse than the consensus outcome. So we'll see. These articles here don't paint Pi in a good light. I will warn you right now, they are doom and gloom, but I am not taking them at face value to represent any dire situation. It's just interesting that 3 articles came out in the last 24 hours, all with the same basic tone. And I'm just curious as to how that happens when I don't see this sentiment being carried elsewhere. And some of the information that's in here obviously is not wrong, but presented in a way to enhance the theme of the article. And this one says, is Pi Network dying? Testnet stalls while price nears all-time low. So that's another interesting one right there. Testnet stalls. Who cares? Who cares about testnet? That testnet's what people use for testing their apps. Now, testnet 1, are they talking about? Or are they talking about testnet 2? Testnet 1 is being tested for the Protocol 23 upgrades. So I would expect that to go offline often, at least initially. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But to say that testnet is dead as an indication that the Pi network is going downhill is just a bad comparison. The Pi testnet, which was once active with dozens of transactions per block, is now nearly unused. A viral post on X revealed that Pi users are showing disappointment because Pi developers and pioneers still don't seem to know the issues around the mainnet. Okay, so basically this whole premise is based on a viral post on X, which, as you and I know, is meaningless. Just because something goes viral doesn't make it true. Pi testnet and mainnet in a dilemma. A Pi user on Twitter, Dr. Pi, revealed data that Pi Network's testnet and mainnet are both showing nearly zero usage. Now, are they talking about Dr. Altcoin? So I'm not sure who they're referring to here. On the mainnet, most of the activity is limited to user migration, while the exchange trading volume is steadily dropping. Now, that's not wrong, right? That we've seen the trading volume drop, but we have seen it go back up in spurts. Okay. And to say that billions of Pi changing hands, or I should say 24 million Pi changing hands in 24 hours, is not a flat line for the network. That's quite a bit of activity. So I don't know. They're painting the situation in a bad light, and I'm not sure why. The evidence that they present doesn't really support it. Pi started September with a trading volume of over 72 million, which has now dropped to less than half. Okay, that just means that you caught it at a up cycle. Come back in a week, it'll be back up there. So I just don't get what point they're trying to make here. While the trading price remains close, I'm not even going to read the rest of this. I just wanted to show you this because it is obviously slanted for a specific purpose, but the evidence that they're producing to support their atmosphere that they're trying to build just doesn't hold up. And this article says, Pi network holders fear collapse in 2026. Here's why. A new tweet by John Morgan has added attention to the question of the long-term sustainability of Pi coin when he quoted an article by CoinDo that states that half of Pi network owners think that the project will fail by the year 2026. Okay, half the network owners think. Who are the owners of the Pi network? Do you know? I was under the impression that nobody owned it. Are they referring to the Pi core team? Do they think it's going to die by 2026? Are they talking about holders of Pi coin? Well, most of the holders of Pi coin are still waiting to be migrated. So yeah, you poll them and they're pissed off and angry about not being migrated. So yeah, they're going to tell you that the whole thing's failing and that the whole thing's a scam. But for the people who have been migrated and who have been using Pi or trading Pi or doing whatever you're doing with Pi, you know it's real. You just may not be happy with where we are right now. But is it going to be dead? No. Even if everybody who was left didn't get migrated and they just disappeared, the Pi coin would still survive and actually probably do pretty darn well. Obviously, I don't expect that to happen because I'd lose just as much as, a lot of people. So I don't want to see that happen. I'm just making a point. Pi coin is currently trading at around 34 cents and its market capitalization stands at around 2.75 billion, assuming a current supply of tokens in circulation is 8 billion Pi coins. Well, yeah, that's what it's based on. This represents a drastic drop as compared to the all-time peak of 3.40 in 2025. Well, yeah, that's because the price dropped. The price drops, the market cap drops. Okay, everybody knows the price dropped. There's nothing special about market cap that indicates anything other than, yeah, you had a price drop. The trading volume is 28.9 million in 24 hours. That shows loss of interest in the market for now. Come back in a week and we'll be back up 115%. So that they're taking temporary situations and extrapolating them for dire situations. I just don't get it. I don't know where this is coming from. The token unlock concern. The aggressive timing of tokens unlocks is one of the most urgent issues brought up in the CoinDo article. Recently, the network unlocked 163 million Pi tokens, which have a valuation of approximately $60 million. CoinDCX.com documents that another 160 million tokens will be emitted in August 2025, and more than 1.27 billion tokens will be unlocked in the coming years. Big surprise here. We have a total global supply of 100 billion tokens. We're at currently 8 billion-ish. There's going to be a lot more. This should come as no surprise to anyone else. Did somebody think they were just going to turn off the spigot at some point and burn the rest? No. It should be no surprise that all of this coin is coming. So whatever is happening, you saw it coming, okay? The only thing that needs to change is the utility and the demand. Increase the demand and suddenly this influx of Pi coin isn't such a big deal. Delays in rolling out the mainnet buttresses confidence. The switching to mainnet by Pi Network has been slow and marred with delays. The process of the KYC verification is still a continuous exercise, and millions are already verified, though full mainnet implementation remains unfinished as of mid-2025. Nevertheless, its slow development in terms of encompassing essential aspects, including the Stellar Protocol 23 upgrade, has undermined the confidence of the community. Its slow development in terms of encompassing essential aspects, including the Stellar Protocol 23 upgrade. I think Pi Network was only a week behind Stellar in making the upgrade. So what are they talking about here? Pi Network, I'm actually surprised that they're going for Protocol 23 this early without going to some intermediate version, because they're currently on 19.6 and they're going straight to 23. So that's something. And that's not, I wouldn't call that delayed at all. Now, whether mainnet, a lot of people keep making this distinction between open network and open mainnet and saying that we're not there yet. And I get that. There's some precedent for that, because if you look at the roadmap on the webpage, it doesn't claim that we're at open mainnet yet. However, we are at open network. If there's a real distinction, I don't know. Maybe open mainnet means that it's literally open to anybody, everybody and anybody who wants to participate. And that's when things like Coinbase and Binance will come into play. And you'll start seeing things like, custom built DEXs get rolled out. Prior to that, you probably won't see any of that, because, if there's a distinction between open network and open mainnet, open network allows external parties to participate with the Pi network on the blockchain, but that may not necessarily mean that they're ready for full blockchain inclusion into other blockchains and bridges and all of that. So there could be a distinction. I just don't know. And until we do, it's all speculation. I tend to lean towards the people who think that there is a distinction. But like I said, I just don't know. And this last one here, Big Pi Network update. Critical info for the entire community. Pi Network is pressing ahead with its strategy to become a fully verified blockchain, even as its token sinks to record lows. The project's version 23 upgrade marks a turning point. For the first time, KYC verification won't just be an app feature, it will be written into the protocol itself. The new release, based on the Stellar's version 23 framework, but reworked for Pi's needs, because that's what Pi does, hands identity checks to both Pi's native system and external providers approved by the community. That's how Pi KYC works now. The core team says this approach will end years of KYC headaches and spread the responsibility for verification beyond a central authority. Nearly 15 million accounts have already been verified, and the team believes the upgrade will accelerate adoption by businesses that require clear compliance standards before integrating crypto payments. Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't really know how this is going to impact the current situation with KYC, because it's a mess, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Rollout will happen gradually, with short service interruptions possible. Going back to the statement about testnet being very low activity or no activity, interruptions, service interruptions. Developers pledged to notify users and partners beforehand, framing the change as preparation, not just for individuals, but also for third-party platforms that plan to plug into Pi's network. The long-term goal is a community-driven identity layer that regulators can trust, but that doesn't rely on a single gatekeeper. While the tech side advances, the token has offered little for bulls to celebrate. Pi's briefly spiked after August's announcements, climbing above 40 cents, but momentum quickly faded. It now trades under 35 cents, barely above its all-time low of 33 cents, and down more than 88% from February highs. Yeah, we all know about that. I presented those articles because that's the only real relevant news out there, and it's not always good. And you can often tell when bad news is trying to make itself out to be more than it is. And the Pi coin right now is in fine shape. There's nothing wrong with it. Its price has been fluctuating, between high 33 cents, 35 cents, even going up close to 40 cents. And that's not a great situation. It's definitely a lot lower than we've been, but it's not the end of the world either. We had huge amount of unlocks in the last couple of months, and we're still kicking. And who knows, with this Protocol 23 rollout, maybe it will have an impact. Maybe the attendance at the Token 2049 will have an impact. Maybe this next hackathon will have an impact. We just don't know where the next big thing is going to come from. And it's only going to take one thing to get everybody flooding back to Pi and getting the spotlight back on us. So you're never really out of the game. So don't panic. Stay the course. And remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.